Is it just me, or are AirPods the most underrated Apple product of all time? If you go back a couple of years, the launch was extremely controversial. Almost everyone was making fun of these little AirPods. Everyone thought they were going to be a major flop. But it turns out Tim Cook and Apple had the last laugh because AirPods have never been more popular than they are right now in 2025. And some good news and bad news you need to know is that now is a great time to buy a new pair of AirPods. There's a lot of great options at varying price points. But the bad news, though, is that Apple's not telling you the full story. There are small changes they have made and also brand new AirPods versions coming that might be worth waiting for. Let me sort of break this down and tell you what you need to know about buying AirPods in 2025 and why you don't want to make an expensive mistake because you'll regret it and it's just not going to be good. But you know what is good? This video sponsor ESR and their amazing AirPods accessories. Stay tuned to learn more. All right, so I thought a simple way to do this would be easier than like going through the website or like using graphics, is just to keep things simple with like one of those simple like flow charts. So question number one here is ANC. Do you care about active noise cancellation for your headphones? Yes or no? I know for some people, it's not a big deal. Some people actually, I think, would prefer to sort of hear the world around them. And I know for a lot of you, the pressure in your ears that ANC has, especially with AirPods, is uncomfortable. So if you do care about ANC, we will continue on down the path in a moment. But if you don't, well, ding, ding, ding. I just finished the video within the first, 60, 90 seconds. AirPods 4, the base ones, those are gonna be the way to go for you. So while this version doesn't have active noise cancellation and you are missing some other features like wireless charging in the case, that's kind of the main stuff. And if you're just looking for really good sounding wireless earbuds, you want that Apple sort of magic seamless syncing and good battery life, these are certainly going to check all those boxes. And I know with, certainly with Apple products, sometimes you feel like the budget version, you're missing out on things and you're getting a more sort of stripped down experience, but that isn't the case with base AirPods 4, especially if you can find them on sale, which I think around the holidays and maybe some Father's Day sales and coming up and things like that, when they're closer to 99 bucks, that makes the deal even better. But when you look on Amazon and you go to Best Buy and look at the alternatives, for the price, you're getting a really solid offering that honestly I think most people are going to be happy with, again, unless you really do want active noise cancellation, which in that case means our search continues. All right, moving on from that, next question here is about your budget. How much money do you want to spend? Specifically, do you have a budget of over $300 for AirPods? If you do, you sort of have your pick of whichever ones you want to go with. But if not, we can sort of continue down with some of the other options. But first, I should say that if you've got a budget over $300 and you're looking to spend good money on AirPods, you want the best you can get, then you're probably gonna be looking at these right here for $550. These are, of course, AirPods Max. And let me just sort of get the elephant in the room out of the way right now. These are the most expensive AirPods you can buy. They're the top of the lineup, and they're super controversial. We've actually heard that inside Apple, they're sort of stuck in product purgatory because on one hand, they are successful enough that Apple needs to sort of keep updating them, and they deserve some attention and they deserve some marketing budget and little things here and there. But the bad news is that they're not successful enough that it's making Apple money. So they need to keep it around. They can't cancel it, but they don't want to put a whole lot of resources into it. It's just sort of stuck in the middle, which really shows when you look at AirPods Max, because if you compare AirPods Max version 2 versus AirPods Max version 1, there are very, very few differences. We're talking a couple of color changes, USB-C instead of Lightning, and that's kind of it. If you're someone who really does want that over-the-ear experience, and you sort of know who you are, you want something more comfortable, you're taking really long flights, or maybe you're just sort of working and you're out in a coffee shop or something and you want that over-the-head experience or over-the-ear experience, I guess it's kind of both, that's what AirPods Max is going to give you. And on one hand, you are getting a very premium experience. It's very comfortable, it's made of good quality materials, obviously sound quality is really good, and especially when you sort of have that magic of like a nice OLED iPad or MacBook Pro, and you've got, spatial audio and you're watching something in Apple TV Plus, it can be a really cool experience and you kind of think, hey, these are sort of nice to have. The downside, though, is a couple of things. Number one is they're still really expensive. At over $500, you start to really open yourself up to a lot of other competitors in this space, and AirPods Max are not super compelling. The other big problem that I'll tell you as an owner, I think any other owner will tell you, is the whole case situation is an absolute mess. Not only do these things have to be in a case to actually go in a proper sleep mode, because if not, they're just going to drain continuously, but they don't collapse down, making them extremely hard to travel with. You know how Vision Pro, Apple sells that big old like travel case that looks ridiculous, but that's like the only way to really travel with Vision Pro? It's sort of like that with AirPods Max, but on a bit of a smaller scale, because the whole apparatus of these things in their case take up a lot of room in your bag or backpack, and it's just not convenient. For headphones really meant to be sort of a premium on-the-go experience, they're not very nice to travel with, and remains to this day one of my biggest complaints with AirPods Max. Also, little pro tip here from one AirPods owner to another, the case is not nearly as durable as you'd think it is, and also while Find My support is built in, usually what happens is you drop the case, the buds go flying, and if you're like me, you spend 20 minutes trying to track down which piece of furniture that bud went flying under. I just like to keep my AirPods protected, keep them safe and secure, and also still keep them easy to use, which is why I love the Cyber Series Flick Lock case from ESR. Couple of reasons I like this case. Reason number one, with Flick Lock being the name, they're locked down, even if they go accidentally out of my hands like that. And when I don't have Butterfingers when I open them, I just flick the switch and they're open. You still get that easy sort of use case there, satisfying opening and closing of AirPods, but they're safe and secure, so if they go flying, they're not gonna go missing. They come in a variety of colors. They're obviously going to keep your AirPods case nice and protected and secure, still giving you easy access to everything, including the pairing button on the back. And finally, one other cool feature here is that this has got super strong magnets built in, which is nice because you can actually just pop these onto any MagSafe charger and you'll be good to go, because by default, out of the box, AirPods have really fragile, finicky wireless charging. They don't work with MagSafe, but with this, you can do it. If you want to learn more about these AirPods cases and really just accessorize any of the Apple products you own, check out what ESR has got to offer at the link right down below. And if AirPods Max just aren't your thing, or you're not looking to sort of spend hundreds of dollars on your headphones, we get down to sort of the last two remaining options in the modern AirPods list, and that is AirPods 4 with ANC, it's the one with the wireless charging case and noise cancellation, and AirPods Pro 2. And I will say probably the biggest question I get from everyone and anyone who knows me and knows I'm in Apple is, what is the big difference between these two? And really, is it worth spending, what, $80 more to jump from AirPods 4 to AirPods Pro 2? And my answer there is yes and no. On one hand, I think AirPods Pro 2 offer an incredible level of noise cancellation. Apple claims I think they're like 2 times better on their website. And I will say that, of course, you're getting a better seal with those silicone tips that you can sort of adjust and put in your ears. And it's so good that a lot of times I don't even bring AirPods Max on a plane. I'll just use AirPods Pro because the ANC is really that good. On the other hand, again, for a lot of people, that pressure, that sensation, that feeling of stuffiness that you get with AirPods Pro 2 just isn't a thing that is comfortable. And if that's the case, but you still want some level of noise cancellation, then AirPods 4 might just be the way to go, because not only are you saving money, but you're still getting active noise cancellation and you're not getting that uncomfortable feeling. Of course, the seal and the resulting noise cancellation is gonna be as good, but for some people, that uncomfortableness is just too much. So if that's the case, you've got a clear winner. The pros, of course, will also give you better battery life. They're also the only ones that can do the hearing aid feature, but really, that's sort of it. As of right now, and I'll come back to a little bit of a messier situation in just a moment, the $80 doesn't get you a whole lot, but the form factor, wireless charging, the experience with spatial music and things like that, all of that is very, very similar. But I should also say, to sort of throw in the mix here to make things even more complicated, is it's almost certainly going to be an exciting year for AirPods Pro, as we're expecting to see the launch of AirPods Pro version 3 come sometime later this year, maybe in the spring, but more likely in the fall, alongside the iPhone 17. And we've heard that Apple actually could be giving us a lot more features here with AirPods Pro 3. I feel like because AirPods Pro 2 and AirPods 4 with ANC, they're so close in terms of features, Apple has to do more to justify the Pro price tag, and that's what we're hearing right now. Some rumors suggest that we could be getting a new design, giving us smaller buds. So instead of like the, see if I can pull it up here. So instead of a design that looks like this, you'd have shorter buds, sort of like what Samsung has, I think, with what they call them, the Galaxy Buds or something like that. It would look something similar to that. We've heard Apple could give you more granular control over noise cancellation. So you could not have, just ANC on or off, but you could like adjust to the percentage of the amount you'd like to have. And then the big feature here, which is likely a given they're on the new Beats, is a heart rate sensor built in. So we know Apple's super into the whole fitness thing and health tracking, and it looks like the new version of AirPods Pro would let you track your workouts without having to wear an Apple Watch. You could get that heart rate data at least from the AirPods already in year. That'd be super cool. So ultimately, I think my advice right now is two things. Number one, do some shopping, because if you can find AirPods at a discount, which you usually can, like typically every make and model is on sale at like all times of the year, then go for it if you want to save some money. But I think that if you're looking for AirPods Pro in particular, and you can wait until later this year, I would certainly wait, because I think the upgrades are going to be good enough to really separate the pros from the regulars, and hopefully the price doesn't change all that much, which should make things good as well. That would be my recommendation. But if you don't care about that, or if you just don't want to wait, you can go with AirPods 4 right now or buy whichever pair you want. So I'm curious your thoughts on AirPods in 2025. Which AirPods do you have? And if you've got an OG pair of AirPods, I'm curious, how are those holding up now 5, 6, 7, almost 8 years later? Wow, 8 years. 2017 was when the first pair of AirPods came out. So that is crazy. And I remember buying mine from AT&T because they were so hard to get back in the day. I'm curious, what AirPods do you guys have? Which ones are you picking up this year? Drop a comment down below, let me know. Thanks guys so much for watching. Appreciate you all. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see ya in the next one.